Alrighty, let's do this thing. So guess what? I was laid off from my job. Yep. It sucks. And I'm going to document myself going through this process. As you may know, I've been trained as a life coach, and I am just at the beginning phases of starting the journey of building a life coaching practice. And I figure, why not document myself going through this process of going through this really difficult thing? Because this is exactly what most of my clients have been or will be dealing with, something like this. Some big change that's either happened to them or that they're bringing upon themselves. And how do you grow through this into a more fulfilling version of whatever your future is? This is the start of me just showing how I'm using my tools to gain some new perspective or understanding so that I can just keep moving forward towards what I actually find to be meaningful and important. If this is something that sounds like it's interesting to you, if you're like, hell yeah, I'm walking through some really terrible times and I would like to have a companion in that, let's walk through all of the terribleness together. I've got you, at least in my own presence. I hope at the very least this can show you that there are ways of supporting yourself through your life experiences that are validating. If you're anything like me, maybe you're quite perfectionistic, maybe you've been really hard on yourself over the course of your life thus far. And so, especially in times of upheaval and change, it's really easy to just slip back into old habits and start to operate from that mindset again, or have that kind of run the show, which totally makes sense because it's a super scary situation or maybe not objectively, but subjectively it's a super scary situation. So that means that all of our old coping mechanisms, or the things that are 100% convinced that this is the way I should live to keep myself safe, are all gonna come flooding out. So, okay, let me talk a little bit about me instead of staying in theory. So what is today? Today's Monday. I found out that very day, the same day that I was laid off, which was last Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it's been 5 days. So I'm on day 5. I had a clue on Tuesday that something was coming, and I was about 60% pessimistic, 40% optimistic that I was going to have my job still by the end of the day, the following day. And unfortunately, the pessimism was correct in this instance. It happened right on the spot, within half an hour, all my access was revoked to everything on my work machine. And it was just bam. Gone. Done. It was as prepared as I was emotionally, or so I thought. It was still shocking, to that 40% of me that was still hopeful that it wouldn't be as bad as I thought. Maybe my team was going to be dissolved and maybe I would be moved somewhere else in the company. But that wasn't the case. I was just in shock for the first, 2 days was solid shock, pretty much, with brief interludes of feeling very scared and brief interludes of feeling really fucking angry. But just shock, disbelief, I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. It wasn't due to my job performance or anything like that. It was role elimination. I just vacillated mostly between shock and denial, anger and sadness, and the feeling of in my stomach a hollow dropping out. Just dread is the closest word to that feeling. Because at that point, what was already starting to happen was all the stories. Whenever there's anything shitty going on, there's always the pain of the pure experience, like the shock, the sadness, the anger, like all of that is like really pure emotion, what it's often called clean pain. And then there's all of the stories that it's totally normal and human to layer on top of all that, which is like, oh my God, I'm never gonna be able to get another job. No one's ever gonna want to work with me again. It's gonna take me forever. I'm gonna be a burden to my husband. I like just on and on and on. This part of me that's like doing its best to try to protect me because, again, it's been proven or it's been shown through previous life experiences and also through how I was raised that like in order to keep myself safe, I have to like self-flagellate first and foremost before anything else, to just put myself in a little box so that hopefully I can yell at myself enough first so that I won't get yelled at from the outside. So you can see what even happens with my body. And so everything that I'm doing has been kind of like happening on a micro level, you know. I've been like, just really like holding my body and bracing. Anyway, the catastrophizing part is like, it's there for a reason. I know why it's there. It's because of all of my like growing up crap. And it's just trying to protect me. It's just trying to think of all the possible scenarios so that I can just think of everything and then like smush myself into whatever is the right box to smush myself into as fast as possible. Here's the thing. I obviously at this point know that that is not actually what I want to do. I don't want to live and make choices and operate from that place. I want to live and operate from that place that I have gotten much more anchored into as of lately, that I have such hard words to describe because it is such a pure ferocity of like truth and knowing and goodness and okayness, and this part of me, I'm feeling it now, like it's so warm and expansive, and the image that comes to mind is like this figure of pure blackness with like black flames like licking off of its body, and it's like backlit by the sun, and it's just like this ferocious warmth that like warms you to your core, like warms you completely and thoroughly. What I hear from this part of me is like, you are so good, you are so precious, you are meant for freedom, you are meant for just expansiveness and awe and joy. Like, this is your birthright. Me as a one human is like, oh, that's a lot. Are you sure? Are you sure about that? But I know that's a part of me, and I'm no longer scared at that part of me that just is like so immersed in this sheer joy of living that it's like, just let it rip. Like, let all the experiences come at me. Like, this is amazing. This is the best roller coaster ever. It's just like standing in my ferocious truth and knowing and feelings of awe and expansiveness and joy at being alive. Like when you go down the drop of a roller coaster. Gosh, I can even hear the shift in my own voice, and like I can feel more open in my body as I talk about this. It's been through coaching that I've found this part of me, which is just, it's insane. Everyone has so many different parts of them, is what I have been really anchoring into and learning as of late. and becoming more functional, becoming more fluid and flexible and responsive to life and able to move forward, at least for me, involves like forming a relationship between all these different parts of me and figuring out how to take them all with me as I move forward into figuring out what is fulfilling. So I've got, the super catastrophizing part of me. I've got this like freedom part of me. And I know I want that freedom part, that like ferociously sovereign part of me, to be much more in the driver's seat moving forward. And I've been practicing that, a little bit every single day, just trying to find ways to help that part of me make the decisions in my life as opposed to the catastrophizer. And so this is going to be an active practice for me because it's not easy. That catastrophizer part is so strong and so loud. I've only been really like picking away at all of this in a meaningful and productive way for probably like 5-6 years, something like that. And I'm, just for the record, I'm almost 35. And so, am I almost 35? How old am I? I don't even know how old I am. Yeah, I am turning 35 at the end of this year. So considering that I've only been like picking away at this intense catastrophizer and inner critic, and I've been slowly unlearning this part of me for maybe 5-6 years, that's not very long. I have been alive way more time than that. So I have a lot of time logged of me like basically running my life from that catastrophizing place. Or like if I haven't run it from the catastrophizing place, it's been like very, very rare moments. Probably less rare than I think, honestly. But during this whole process of like nurturing myself, taking care of myself, like continuing to recover from the exhaustion that had kind of been building up from the job that I was doing and how I was relating to that job, I'm going to be having this ferociousness and this commitment to my own goodness and my own sovereignty and freedom at the forefront. And if as soon as I see it kind of dropping into the background and my intense inner critic and catastrophizer coming more into the foreground, just noticing that, not further shaming myself for that happening, because that's life, it happens. But then anchoring back into this other part of me and doing my best to just make decisions from that place moving forward. So with these like two really big parts of me that are looming large in my mind right now, that often run the show, and the other one that I want to be running the show more often, I often see myself have like patterns of behavior. And so the catastrophizer, inner critic, it's freezing, like just ruminating so much that I get stuck in this kind of frozen place where I'm just anticipating pain at any moment and I'm really bracing. And in that sense, I'm just like creating pain for myself ultimately. So that's one thing that I see myself doing when I'm operating from that part of me. Another part of me that may look different on the surface, but is still that part of me that's running the show, is just action, action, action. And that looks like working so hard that I don't give myself a break, working so hard that I dissociate from my body, working so hard and not like pacing myself gradually over the course of, multiple days, trying to get something done all at once, because it's like we're not safe unless we get all this done all right now. So that's the same part, is that catastrophizing part, because it's just like we're not safe, we're not safe, we're not safe, either in the ruminating and frozen way of expressing that, or the run, 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 do all the things, don't think, just like do what is the right thing to do and just like crush it and like work really hard all the time. So that's the other manifestation of that part of me. What I want to be anchoring into more during this time is really feeling my body, feeling what are the sensations in my body? How can I relate to those sensations rather than like trying to fix them? Like if I feel uncomfortable in my body or scared or, my stomach is in knots, how can I just be with that sensation and just love it rather than being like, oh my God, I'm anxious, I have to fix it. And that means I have to like go do something to like get rid of it right away. Just relating in a loving manner to everything that's showing up in my experience as much as possible. That's one aim that I have during this time. And really that doesn't just go towards like sensations that are arising because of an emotion that I'm feeling. It just goes to like sensations of like, I've been sitting in one place for a really long time and it's time to get up and move. That's something that I am looking forward to practicing more during this time. I also am going to be really anchoring into this peacefulness or how I think I'm going to feel after I like check off certain activities off of my list. I'm going to be anchoring into that or making a practice of anchoring into that before I even begin doing job hunting or working on my coaching, doing my music and songwriting and music production and singing. My aim during this time is to shift my behavior to like really anchor into those emotional states and also notice how that changes my physiology before I embark on whatever it is that I'm about to do. And here's the thing, I know all of this isn't going to go perfectly. I'm not going to like be in freaking bliss like at every moment that I'm doing all the things that I need to do over the next month or so, but I can have that intention of giving myself the gift of that ease, that feeling of safety. And when I notice that I'm not able to stay anchored there, then that's just something that I need to work through in my own self-coaching. Those are the moments where like beliefs or identities that are no longer serving me are probably showing up, such as thinking like, oh my God, I'll never be able to get another job. Let's sit down and question that. And so it's my intention that I'll sit down and I'll like actually demo you like what it looks like to really pick apart those thoughts and not just like try to gloss over them or push them away, but to really like expand in a really like deeply anchored in way my point of view on that topic so that it helps me to have more perspective and more ease as I like think about other things that I could do or think without like believing that thought so intensely or hanging on to that identity so intensely as I once did. I believe so deeply in the idea of inherent worthiness. Like you look at a flower and it's just so beautiful all by itself. You look at a rock or grass or a cloud or the mountains or a bird or any of that, and you're like, damn, that's just so beautiful, like all by itself. You look at children and pets and you think, oh my gosh, they're just so endearing and precious and beautiful all by themselves. As a teacher, that was one of my, I'm gonna start to cry, like that was one of my great like privileges as a teacher, was to just see the essence inside of a child and like their essence is like so close to the surface, especially when they're young. And just like seeing how amazing they are. Why are we any different as adults? We're not. We all have that essence inside of us that is just so precious and good. It's my commitment that I will do my best to see that in myself a little bit every day, and a little bit more ideally with each passing day. Ultimately, that's the change that I want to help realize in the world. Can you imagine how much would be different if everyone knew that innate goodness that's just right there? Can you imagine if we lived more of our life from that place? How much more levity we would have in our relationships, because we'd just be relating to each other knowing that we're already whole. I'm just so excited to grow into more of this myself. I know that this is my calling to live into this. I just hope that through my own example of me grappling with this, practicing this, stepping into more of this, and like just seeing what happens, because I have a feeling amazing things will happen. I hope that that gives you permission and a sense of recognition inside your own self that like, I've got this too. I have this innate goodness too, and I'm worth it. Like, finding this part of me within myself is totally worth it, because it's going to change everything. When I've touched into this part, it's absolutely changed everything for me. And the more I bring it into my life, the more amazing my life gets. I think that's all I'm going to say for now. I will do my best to bring you along so that you can see what it looks like when I'm coaching myself, what it looks like when I'm like actually moving forward on job searching or doing music things, what it looks like to use these coaching tools on myself and to anchor into this innate goodness and make decisions and move forward on my goals from that place. And yeah, we'll see where else this takes us. I have a feeling it'll be a very interesting road ahead. If you're watching this, thank you so much for being here. If you've stayed this long, I know that some of what I'm saying is for you, and I just look forward to being able to help you in whatever way I can through bringing you along into my own journey and into my own mind, my own heart, and I hope this helps you feel more free yourself. Do you see the pepper?
Hi, cutie. What are you doing over there?
She's been there the whole time I recorded. And somebody's texting me. Don't know who. Okay, that's all for now. I will see you in the next whatever the fuck this is. Bye.